The Rolex GMT Master II Pepsi saga is taking a turn that might just leave you speechless, and you won't believe the reason why. But lucky for you, we've scooped up all the insider info you need to piece together why this iconic piece, with its signature red and blue bezel, could be ticking towards its grand finale. This is the kind of story that gets your pulse racing, especially if you have a soft spot for horological legends. So make sure you're following us at Opulent Oasis. You won't want to miss out on revelations like this. Without further ado, let's unravel the mystery behind the Pepsi. Back in 1954, Rolex and Pan American Airways teamed up to create something pretty special for the airline's pilots. They came up with the GMT Master, a watch that let pilots keep track of 2 different time zones at once. This was a big deal for folks flying from one side of the world to the other, allowing them to easily see the time back home and wherever they were headed. The design took some cues from the date-just turnograph, sporting a 38mm steel oyster case that was all about durability and style. But the real standout feature was the bezel. Made with a bakelite insert, it had this cool red and blue look that matched Pan Am's own colors. That design wasn't just for show. It helped pilots tell day from night at a glance. Because of this, people started calling it the Pepsi watch, a nickname that stuck because of those distinctive colors. Under the hood, the GMT Master was powered by Rolex's first GMT-capable movement, the caliber 1036. This bit of innovation meant the watch wasn't just a pretty face, it was a serious tool for anyone who needed to juggle time zones, from pilots cruising above the clouds to globetrotters hopping from one country to the next. Rolex never stops pushing the envelope, and their journey from the original bakelite bezels to aluminum and then onto ceramic ones in 2005 is a testament to that. When they switched to ceramic, or Cerachrom as they call it, it wasn't just about stepping up the game in terms of scratch resistance and keeping the colors from fading under the sun. There was a bigger challenge on their hands, especially when it came to keeping those iconic red and blue colors bright and vibrant on the bezel. So how did Rolex tackle this? They went all out with a pretty intricate recipe involving a mix of rare earth oxides to get the red just right, and a special concoction of metallic salts for the blue. But they didn't stop there. They heated everything up through a sintering process that's as high-tech as it sounds, ensuring the colors didn't just pop, but stayed true over time. I mean, this level of detail in making sure the bezel stood up to the rigors of time and use was a huge deal. But lately, there's a lot of buzz around the Rolex GMT Master II Pepsi, especially with rumors flying about its possible discontinuation. Rolex plays its cards close to the chest, not giving much away about what's coming next, and that just makes everyone all the more curious and excited. Of course, we've made it clear that the Pepsi is more than just another watch. Its red and blue ceramic bezel isn't only a technical marvel, but also a badge of Rolex's relentless pursuit of perfection. But here's the thing. Getting that perfect shade of red on the ceramic is a real headache. The whole process of sintering ceramic to achieve those vibrant, fade-resistant colors is complex and tricky, sparking some chatter on whether keeping up with the demand for this iconic model is even doable in the long run. It's this blend of craftsmanship, innovation, and a hint of mystery that keeps everyone on their toes, eagerly waiting to see what Rolex does next. Not only that, but folks selling Rolex watches have been noticing it's getting tough to keep the Pepsi model on the shelves, and it's not just because everyone wants one. The real kicker? Making that iconic two-tone bezel is giving Rolex a bit of a headache, with a staggering 90% of them not making the cut because the colors keep bleeding into each other. This bottleneck is making the Pepsi harder to find, driving up demand and sparking a lot of chatter about what this means for its future. Some are even whispering that if Rolex decides to call it quits on this model, its value on the resale market could go through the roof. You see, the buzz around the potential goodbye to the GMT Master II Pepsi has really shaken up the luxury watch scene. It seems like Rolex might be playing a bit of a game with us, either on purpose or because making those watches is tougher than we thought. This whole supply and demand dance they're doing, it's keeping the Pepsi super exclusive and on everyone's wish list. And guess what? It's working. Especially over in the EU, finding a Pepsi is getting harder by the day, and as you'd expect, its price tag is heading skyward. It's like the harder it is to get, the more everyone wants one. Despite all the whispers about the GMT Master II Pepsi potentially being on its way out, there's a good chunk of chatter that suggests Rolex might not be looking to retire it at all. Instead, they could be playing a clever game, using all this speculation to amp up the watch's allure. Think about it. Keeping everyone guessing and the buzz alive could be Rolex's savvy move to make the Pepsi even more of a trophy for collectors and a dream for folks just diving into the world of luxury watches. It's a smart play, really, tweaking the supply, stirring the pot with a few rumors here and there, and maybe dropping a new twist on the model now and then. All of this keeps the Pepsi right at the top of everyone's wish list. Talking about Rolex pulling the plug on models, remember when they stopped making the Submariner reference 6538, better known as the James Bond Submariner? That watch, which came out in the late 50s and early 60s, has turned into a massive deal among vintage watch lovers. A big part of its charm? It's the watch that James Bond wore in the first few movies. Ever since Rolex said goodbye to it, its value and the clamor to get one have shot through the roof. It's a perfect example of how a watch can become even more legendary after it's discontinued, which is something to keep in mind with all the talk about the GMT Master II Pepsi. When Rolex decided to stop making the James Bond Submariner, they didn't exactly send out a press release. The reasons behind shelving a model can be all over the map. Maybe tastes change, or there are new technical mountains to climb, or they're just making room for something even cooler. With the Submariner 6538, it's pretty clear that Rolex was on its usual path, pushing the envelope with newer, more water-resistant models, adding crown guards and tweaking the movement to be even better. Now, if we're chatting about the GMT Master II Pepsi, there's a bit of déjà vu happening. Rolex has always been about stepping up its game, and the Pepsi, with its tricky-to-make red and blue ceramic bezel, is no exception. Just like with the Submariner, the hurdles in keeping those bezel colors bright and bleed-free at high-volume production might be the kind of challenge that has Rolex thinking about what's next. It's all part of the brand's big-picture approach to keeping things fresh and top-notch. Well, folks, we've reached the end of the road on our journey with the Rolex GMT Master II Pepsi. What a ride, right? From those high-flying days with Pan Am to the current whispers of a curtain call, it's been nothing short of a saga. But what's your take? Do you reckon the Pepsi is really taking its final bow, or is this all just Rolex keeping the suspense alive? Drop your thoughts, theories, and any insider info you might have in the comments below. We're all ears and can't wait to see what you think. And if you've enjoyed our little chat about one of the watch world's biggest icons, why not hit that like button, subscribe to Opulent Oasis, and ring that bell? Trust us, there's a lot more where this came from and you won't want to miss out. Big thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for what's next. Who knows what mystery watch we'll be digging into in our upcoming videos.